What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski, back again here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And in today's video, we're here to talk about very interesting little data download that we had just now here, introducing a new Sugo Fest, which is going to be a new Rumble event, which we kind of expected was going to happen. We typically get them once a month, and it's going to be featuring a new legend, so we'll go through that very shortly. But something very interesting that I want to bring your attention to is if you go over to the request for Chopper Man, one of the things that they introduced about a year or two ago at this point was the introduction of panel missions. Now, panel missions have, relatively been untouched. They've given us a couple of additional ones, sometimes throughout a special event, and we don't know what's going on, but it looks like if you go over to the panel missions, there's a brand new one that's going to be available. So I've actually time skipped to September 10th, and you can see that the time left is 37 days. So this is not one of those ones that is going to be permanently there. It's going to be one that will eventually leave, but it's titled the Warrior of Liberation Panel Mission Recruit Gear 5 Sugo Rare Luffy. So if you go over to the info for this, you can see the artwork right there with all of the panels. It is going to be Psy Gear 5 Luffy given away for free. So you know that when you start a new account, you get the infinite reroll on that Sugo Fest to acquire a Super Sugo Fest exclusive on your account. Some people, kind of settle for Psy Gear 5 Luffy, but now, honestly, like Psy Gear 5 Luffy, you don't actually want to pull him from the reroll when you start an account. You want to get him from this, and then obviously when there's a Super Sugo Fest, you can reroll on that to get your good start. However, obviously, this is not going to be here forever, so you do have to keep that in mind. But the fact that they're bringing this out for a limited time period leads me to believe that there is going to be something within, this time frame of 37 days. Like, we're going to be getting some type of major event. It just lines up. I think that there is going to be something coming soon. Let's hope that it's not another Luffy, because that would be kind of weird to introduce a new Luffy and then have Psy Gear 5 Luffy as like a free unit for players, bringing them into the game. Hopefully it's not the case. But in terms of acquiring this Luffy, you have to basically complete all these missions, stuff like just clearing quests, powering up characters, log in for 3 days consecutively. So this is not a thing you can get just day one. You do have to log in over 3 days. Reach level 30 or higher in PKA, limit break a character 30 times. Now, I don't think this means you have to do 30 individual characters. I'm pretty sure this is just going to be like, each node on a limit break tree would be my assumption. And then you have raise 2 characters to special level 3 or higher, participate in Rumble 3 times, and then win the single match against the Straw Hats once, and then you will acquire the Luffy once you complete all the missions. So that's pretty cool. I'm glad that they're doing this. More introductory stuff like this is always a good way to bring people back to the game for characters that they don't have. And Psy Gear 5 Luffy is one of the best generic units to have on your account, as he just clears so much stuff. Literally one of the best legends in the game's history, right? Let's go over to the other news that I wanted to make this video for today, which was the introduction of the brand new Pirate Rumble Sugo Fest, which is going to be featuring a brand new legend, Jinbe. Now, this is something that's interesting because I was thinking this to myself that, like, we don't have an Egghead Jinbe legend because, we had the Frankie, we had the Brook recently. Having Jinbe come out here does make a little bit of sense. So we'll see what's going to be coming in the future. But, kind of rounding out this, Egghead Straw Hat stuff with a new Jinbe. Okay, so let's go ahead and have a look at what he does. So let's go over to the recommended characters tab. So remember that he is going to be a Rumble legend, meaning that he's not going to have super type, super class, or anything like that. So that does kind of hurt the character here. So Jinbe here is a Psy Cerebral Free Spirit. Honestly, the artwork looks pretty cool on this guy. Not too bad at all. He doesn't have a premium potential ability like Final Tap, Rush, etc. So that's another good thing. If you do pull him, he does come at level 110, so he will have, increased statistics. So let's go ahead and talk about his Captain ability here. So, Captain ability will give 1 turn of cooldown at the start of the quest, reduces HP to 25%. So this actually falls in line with what Brook and what the Frankie want to do. Specifically Frankie, he wants to be at low HP thresholds for his abilities, and Brook also can benefit from that too. So that makes sense. And launches the following effect at the start of the quest. Nullifies damage taken until hit 1 time. +1 hit if Captain ability is doubled. Okay, so if you're on double Jinbe, you can't be hit twice, right? That's pretty interesting. We know that the treasure map legend Jinbe that came out a couple years back he does a very similar thing to this, so that's interesting. Sai, Cerebral Free Spirit, 1.5 HP, 5 times attack, 5.75 when you're below 30%, makes side recovery tandem matching, and 30% damage reduction. And then based on tags, if you got 4 or more Straw Hats, reduces burn by 6 turns. I mean, for a Rumble Legend, it's actually not an awful captain ability. You've got a little bit of utility there. Obviously, it is kind of centered around those tags, of course. And then just the ability to just tank any one hit can be pretty nice. And he does start at 25% HP, so I guess having that nullification damage makes a bit of sense. So captain ability-wise, like, I can't really fault it too much. Like, it is a Rumble Legend, you can't expect the world. It's okay. Of course, no super type, no super class, unfortunately. And then the special ability. So it's going to completely remove your crew's target lock status. Oh, that's so weird, dude. Like, target lock is such a weird niche mechanic. There really isn't many instances where you need to get rid of it, so let's hope that there's not going to be any content in the near future where that's going to be important. He also reduces bind duration by 6. He then also will give Sai, Cerebral, and Free Spirit characters tap timing chain growth rate up to 0.7, so it's pretty stock standard, and that's for 3 turns. And then if 5 or more Straw Hats are on the crew, and 1 enemy with 20% or below remains when the special is launched, defeat that enemy. That's oddly specific. Like, we have characters like Ambush Garb and Rare Recruit Sugar that just instantly defeat based on HP. Like, why are we locking this behind tags? Like, that mechanic is pretty cool, but it doesn't come up very often anyway. So, like, this ability is just kind of whatever. You're not realistically going to be using this. It's just, I don't get why they lock this effect behind tags. That's weird. And then if you're 30% or below HP, and when the special is launched, and you need to have 5 or more Egghead characters on the crew, nullifies damage taken into 1 hit, and then buff the final tap of Cerebral or Free Spirit by 30%. I mean, this special's pretty mid. It's pretty bad, honestly. It's not that great. Like, target lock is a very niche removal. Bind is cool. Tap timing chain growth, fine. And that's for 3 turns, so I guess it's kind of okay. But then, like, the instant defeat, whatever. And then you need to be below 30%, and you need 5 Egghead characters in order to actually get the nullification of damage. Like, I just don't see this guy really seeing a ton of play. Okay, but of course, he is a Rumble Legend, so we'll get to his Rumble kit very shortly. He can't be blown away. When you're below 30%, you get more attack. Okay. Support effects? Nope. So let's go ahead and talk about the Rumble abilities, which is the more important effect here. So he gives Sai and Cerebral units 6 health, 6 defense, 6 speed, and then Cerebral characters 4 attack, 4 speed, and Straw Hats HP 5, attack 5, defense 5. Interesting. He is a supporter style unit. Let's see what he does. 30 CT, large range 2.5 damage, Sai Cerebral units 100% chance to evade force out for 20 seconds. Interesting. I mean, 30 CT is a little rough though. Like, you'd want that to be a little less so you can actually avoid like the first iteration of force out. So you really want Jinbe to launch like relatively quickly, right? And then he also says he gives those units attack level 7 and a 3 times counter. Ooh. So he's giving all of your Sai and Cerebral units a 3 times counter. That's kind of crazy. And then Cerebral teammates get a 20% reduction. So it's interesting because he can work well in a couple different teams, where he can work in that mono Cerebral sense, but he can also kind of work in that Sai Straw Hat focused team too. So it is kind of cool that he is multifaceted, so he's not just kind of shoehorned into one team, and that if you can't build that team, that's just kind of it. He does have a little bit of flexibility to enable him to be used in a couple different teams, which I think is a good way of designing this character. Overall, he's just okay. I guess one thing you do have to note that he is a 20 cost character. That's the major thing there. When I was just thinking about his kit, obviously him being a legend, thinking is 55 cost in Rumble. If he was 55 cost, this character would be really, really bad. But this guy at 20 cost is actually a pretty nice addition to that Sai Free Spirit team for sure. Is he going to see play on Cerebral? I don't know. Cerebral is a little mediocre right now. They need a little bit of help. He also evades damage over time, which is good against the versus Blackbeard, and then he also has the int damage reduction. So overall, that is the brand new Jinbe Legend. But I also want to bring your attention to the Sugofest itself, because it's actually featuring some pretty cool characters there. So you got Ivankov, which is like whatever. Esper, honestly, pretty good. But then you've got, you know, Sol, which is like just he's okay, I guess. Inazuma is actually a really good damage dealer. You've got Gin. I haven't actually used Gin, so it is what it is. But then you got the Akainu. and that Admiral Akainu is, or Fleet Admiral Akainu should I say, is actually very good. He does see a lot of play on the Psy team and definitely helps them out and does a lot of damage. So if you are looking for any of these units, they're going to be featured here, of course. But look, at the end of the day, I think it'd be a good idea to conserve your gems. It depends on, you know, when banners drop, because obviously you'll have those Rainbow Tavern medals. So if you have Rainbow Tavern medals to spare, you can just throw them at this banner and see what happens, right? Alternatively, you can go ahead and spend them here on the other banners. You've got, you know, obviously the Hancock, you've got the Egghead banner. So it is what it is, and it depends on where you want to spend them. But anyways, that is going to wrap it up for me for this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.